Now on Brookland News Live, in just moments, we will take you to Provo, Utah, where a hearing is set to get underway in just moments for the accused Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson. That is coming up right here on Brookland News Live. And the latest on the war in Iran and the escalations overnight with the U.S. announcing strikes in Iran, and what the president has said could, quote, probably come tonight for Iran. We'll bring you that. Plus, right now in Brookland, rain, as it has been, it feels like for the last week, is in the forecast. Could we see some more rain tonight? We'll talk about it coming up right here on Brookland News Live. And changes are happening now at the United States Postal Service. We have what you need to know about the Forever stamp and the price it could soon cost you. Brookland News Live starts right now.
It's time for all the news you need and more. Brookland News Live starts right now.
Alrighty, welcome here live into Brookland News Live. I'm Jackson Mitchell. Good to be with you. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to get to Provo, Utah coming up here in just a few moments, so stick with us for that. It is Wednesday, July 8th, 2026, 2:02 p.m. here in Brooklyn, meaning it's 3:02 over on the East Coast and 12:02 on the West. We've got so much to get to. Again, our coverage is soon to begin, coming up here in just a few moments out of Provo, Utah. But first, there is so much news going on that we want to take you to. And then it does start with the latest on the war in Iran. Let's take it right now, a live look at the Strait of Hormuz from marine traffic, as the president declared this morning that the U.S. ceasefire with Iran is, quote, over, stunning the world from the sidelines of the NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey. Quote, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum, Trump told reporters sitting next to NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Quote, and if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. The collapse came after Iran attacked 3 commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, prompting the U.S. military to launch a fresh round of strikes on Iranian targets overnight. Iran's Revolutionary Guard now retaliating by launching missiles and drones against Kuwait and Bahrain, 2 Arab Gulf states that host U.S. military bases. Now, the president here, want to play some video. This is the president from this morning speaking on all of this. Take a listen.
I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Woodcoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo.
Yeah, you hear the president there calling them, quote, cuckoo. Now, the U.S. Treasury Department has already begun implementing the fallout, revoking a general license that was issued back last month that had authorized Iranian oil sales as part of the Memorandum of Understanding. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Baghir Ghalib fired back this morning, accusing the U.S. of, quote, major MOU violations. Trump said he would allow U.S. negotiators to keep talking with their Iranian counterparts, but made clear he does not expect much. Quote, I don't care. They can't talk, but I think they're wasting their time. They're a bunch of lying guys, end quote, he said. Trump also warned he could hit Iranian electric plants and desalination facilities, saying, quote, I don't want to do that, but if we have to, we'll take them out. All less fuel prices back on the rise once again, $3.79, the national average. Yesterday, $3.79 as well, so not too much change. $3.45, the average in Arkansas, and in Jonesboro, it is just a sitting down from that at $3.44. The markets reacted already immediately. We're talking about the stock markets. This is the Dow right now. Let's take out our graphic here. here as we take a look at it. The market's reacting violently. Oil prices surging more than 6% today after Trump's remarks, with U.S. crude jumping more than 6.5%, up $75 a barrel. I mean, just a reminder here, that is still down from the beginning of this war, which was, we were seeing 100 plus for per barrel. It's the largest single day move since the beginning of June, and international benchmark Brent crude rising 6.2% to nearly $79 per barrel. Now, for drivers in Northeast Arkansas, that means the recent relief at the pump, where prices had fallen around $3.32 a gallon in Jonesboro, would be short-lived if the Strait of Hormuz closes again and the war fully reunites. Analysts warn gas prices across the country could spike by as much as 50 to 75 cents a gallon within weeks. I mean, you see the down. This was from earlier, down 624, down 1.18%. There you go, 52,000 where the Dow sits right now. We're watching, of course, how that is all going to play out. Again, the president warning that strikes again could come tonight, so we're going to be on lookout for that if they come in the overnight hours, and what to bring in tomorrow. Of course, we'll be here tomorrow bright and early to bring you guys all the news of the Kirk hearing, and then we're also going to be here, of course, at 2 p.m. for Brookland News Live. So a lot going on, a lot we are following right now. When we talk about Iran, of course, now new major escalations in that war there, so we are following that, and we'll bring you updates on that. Want to take you to a live look right now in Provo, Utah, where day 3 of the Charlie Kirk preliminary hearings are underway right now. We are monitoring those, and we're going to bring you some of the hearing coming up here in just a little bit. Now, again, these hearings that we've been watching for the last few days are for the judge to decide whether the prosecution has enough evidence to bring this case to trial. We will talk more about this coming up here a little later in the show. There's so many headlines to get to, so we want to get to all of them. Alrighty, coming up, still to come right here on Brookland News Live, we've got a lot going on. The latest allegations made against Graham Plattner, the breaking news. Of course, he has since, you hear there, releasing his defense video and the new calls for Plattner to drop out. We're going to bring you that coming up here next. We've got more coming up on that as well. Stick with us because you're watching Brookland News Live. Gotcha. Welcome back here into Brookland News Live. We're following several developing stories this hour, including this one. Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner now facing a new bombshell allegation. We talked about this a little bit yesterday here. Now, this one now it's starting to sink what was already considered one of the best changes to flip a Senate seat this fall. So Jenny Raycott, a 41-year-old Maine resident who dated Plattner, on and off for 2 years, told Politico that in 2021, Plattner entered her home uninvited while intoxicated and forced himself on her while she repeatedly told him stop. Quote, I remember him grabbing my pelvis and being really forceful, Raycott said. Quote, I remember the specific moment where I thought to myself, there is no longer my choice. This is no longer my choice, excuse me. Now, Raycott said she provided emails with her therapist and messages with an acquaintance as corroboration. Plattner flatly denied the allegations in a new video, calling them, quote, troubling, serious, and false, saying, quote, any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically untrue. Now, several lawmakers are calling on Plattner to drop off. We just want to show you a few of those lawmakers that are now calling on him to drop off. That includes Senator Ruben Gallego, who now says this, quote, the allegations against Graham Plattner are troubling and deeply serious. I am rescinding my endorsement. Senator Elizabeth Warren also calling for Plattner to drop out of this race. She says, quote here, with so much at stake, the best path forward is for Graham Plattner to step aside as the Democratic nominee and address these serious allegations outside this Senate race. That's not the only one. Remember, Bernie Sanders yesterday called on him to drop out of the race. Now, the fallout here, has been immediate. As you see there, it's not only that, those people, it's Senate Leader Chuck Schumer calling on him to drop out as well. And DSCC Chair Kristen Gillibrand issued a joint statement saying the committee will, quote, not invest in the main Senate race if Plattner remains on the ballot, unquote. Senator Elizabeth Warren, we just showed you her statement, quote, she, who previously campaigned with Plattner, said, quote, there can be no tolerance for sexual assault, and called on him to, quote, step aside, excuse me. Representative O'Connor, who stood by Plattner through the previous controversies that he's faced. I mean, I should have noted that at the beginning here. This is not the first bit of allegations that Plattner has faced. He faced even more sexual assault allegations before the election began. Now Plattner is coming out with his own video and is defending his campaign, saying that they are, quote, categorically untrue.
The troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. We're taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today.
So you hear Plattner there defending his campaign. Despite the avalanche of pressure here, Plattner has not yet dropped out. You did hear, though, he left kind of the door open, saying, you know, now they're taking a period of time to decide what the future of this campaign would look like. Of course, the primary election has already happened, meaning he's already the Democratic nominee, so there would have to be kind of like a reselection process, essentially. So we're going to watch for it. We're going to bring you updates when we get them on this case. Alrighty, now to this developing story out of Capitol Hill that we are following right now. Senator Mitch McConnell is now remaining hospitalized for more than 3 weeks, I should say, and the lack of information about his condition is only fueling more questions. The 84-year-old Kentucky senator has not been seen in public since being admitted to a Washington hospital back on June 14th. Now, his office continues to say only that he is recovering, offering no details about his diagnosis or when he could return to the Senate. Republican leaders say they have spoken with McConnell by phone in recent days, describing him as, quote, engaged and following national security issues, even as speculation about his health continues to grow. Scott Jennings, who's a CNN analyst and Republican strategist, was on CNN yesterday and said he had a phone call with McConnell. Take a listen.
McConnell today. What did you talk about? What did he say?
Yeah, he called me this morning before I did my radio show. We talked for about 17 minutes. You know, he talked a lot about the situation with Iran, talked a little bit about Ukraine and what's going on in Europe. I told him I'd been to the Teddy Roosevelt Library. We talked a little bit about the history of the vice presidency and how Roosevelt had transformed that in the modern presidency. A little history of the Senate. I mean, it was a wide-ranging conversation. I talked to him often. I hadn't talked to him since he'd been in. I'd gotten a few text messages from him, but I hadn't spoken to him. So it was good to hear his voice. Voice sounded strong and sounded like he was keeping up with the news to me.
Did you ask him how he was feeling?
Yeah, he said he was feeling okay. Obviously well enough to call me on the phone, and obviously well enough to talk to Barrasso and Thune. Now, look, I'm not qualified to discuss any medical issues or give you any information about that. That's really for him or his staff to do. But I talk to him from time to time, and I see him from time to time. And we had a conversation today about the things that we normally talk about, which are news of the day, political stuff.
Did you come away feeling like he's still capable of serving the people of Kentucky as senator?
I came away feeling that he was staying on top of the news. Again, I look, his condition and why he's in the hospital or when he might come out, or look, that's.
Do you know why, and are just saying it's not at liberty to share?
I do not know why. I only know, frankly, what has been reported or what his office has said. So it was a personal, private call, but I didn't probe him too deeply for his medical records.
Would you encourage him or anyone in his position to be more transparent with his voters about his health than he's been so far?
Good question. I think that's a fair thing to say. But on the other hand, my impression of men of that age is that they're a little private when it comes to their health. Now, he's in public office, and that carries a different responsibility. But it's.
Now, I have heard several different opinions about the health of Mitch McConnell. I was listening to some analysts today when I was preparing for the show, and some people are saying that even suggesting that he's dead. And I just want to say that just to point that out, that as people are saying that because they have not heard from him in so long. Not only that, people are speculating that these phone calls aren't even happening, and that they are just saying that so they do not lose the Republican majority. Not that one senator would mean they would lose the Republican majority. They're saying Thomas Massie, who is a Republican, but yet he doesn't usually vote in motions that go in Donald Trump's favor. Like, he's Republican, but you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't. He has been a stark Trump. He's disagreed with Trump a lot, is what I should say. Trump has disagreed with him a lot as well, is what I'm trying to get there too. So, of course, that is a ongoing conversation. Now, the uncertainty has sparked a political firestorm online. Now, CNN commentator and former McConnell advisor Scott Jennings, as we just pointed to, you heard there, said he spoke with him for nearly 20 minutes this week, saying they discussed Iran, Ukraine, Maine politics, and the Senate history. Now, this goes against rumors. Now, at the same time, we're also learning Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, who we were just talking about there, is weighing in on social media, adding to the growing debate over transparency as questions about McConnell's health continue to mount here. So I want to show you what Thomas Massie had to say. This was in a Facebook post, which Thomas Massie said, quote, "I spoke to McConnell for about 20 minutes this morning. He said we should end the war with Iran, quit giving aid to Israel, stop spying on Americans without a warrant, and he's really sorry about how my primary turned out." So you see there, that also goes towards what Scott Jennings just said there, that he was still following the politics. So we are following all of this and are, of course, waiting for updates. Again, we do not know quite what hospitalized him, but again, what we do know is that according to his aides, he remains hospitalized. He's still alive. I was gonna say and well, but we haven't really got that. You heard that there kind of from Scott Jennings, but we don't quite know the condition of him right now. Alrighty, want to turn to this other developing story. This one is out of Craighead County that we are following right now, and it is on Sheriff Marty Boyd, who won't be the sheriff starting in this next term here. We know that Sheriff-elect Jason Allen is soon to take over the wheel there. We want to talk about this. Again, this is developing. This is a story from Jonesboro right now, reporting on overcrowding at the jail. So Craighead County Sheriff Marty Boyd is again warning about what he calls a growing public safety issue: overcrowding at the Craighead County Jail. Now, the sheriff says the current facility has outgrown its capacity, with the building originally designed for far fewer inmates than it now holds. Now, Boyd has been pushing for quite some time for a long-term solution, including a proposed half-cent tax sales tax that would have helped fund a new expanded detention center. Now, I kind of went digging in the files today, because before this election was going to before the 2024 election was going to happen, and this half a cent tax increase was on the ballot, Sheriff Marty Boyd went in front of the Brookland City Council and spoke. Now, this video is about 8 minutes long here. We're not going to air the entire piece of it, but we do want to air quite a bit of it. This is again from the file here. Take a listen.
Appreciate y'all allowing me to come tonight. Explain a little bit about what the proposal is that we looked at. So Craighead County's proposed, and the court has passed a resolution, or I'm sorry, a proposal for a half-cent sales tax with an 8-year sunset to be voted on in November. What that would be used for is to build a new detention center. And I say to build a new or add on to our present building is what right now it's still unknown what would be the most efficient way to go. In my opinion, I can tell you that I think building a new unit would be the best way Craighead County to go to keep operational costs down and lower. Presently, I can tell you, our facility right now is 35 years old. The floor plan is very inefficient. Thank you. Because originally that unit was built for 160 inmates. We currently hold 400 today. Well, currently we have 392 beds. We hold about 450 on average the last several months and years. But if I was to add on to the building right now, a lot of infrastructure would have to be built in place: kitchen, laundry, things like that, new roof, new electronic door mechanisms to get the infrastructure fixed to do an expansion. And then the expansion would cause me to have to add on anywhere between 12 and 18% staffing. So when I look at the numbers of staffing, doing a new unit and things like that, in 10 years we could be over the cost of running a center other than building a new center that's more efficient, designed to hold a larger number of inmates. So that's kind of the backstory of what.
So there you go. That was when the city council was voting to approve this going forward on the ballot. Okay, I want to read you a piece from this Jonesboro Right Now article, which says, quote, "The issue came to light following a story by NEA report revealing that the 2nd Judicial District Prosecuting Attorney's Office had been independently directing jail staff to lower defendants' bonds without obtaining a judge's signature. Now, the procedural workaround drew sharp criticism in open court from Judge Fowler, ultimately leading prosecuting attorney Sonia Haygood to pull her deputy prosecutors from attending Fowler's bond hearings altogether. Now, despite this courtroom drama, let me scroll down here just a little bit. Sheriff Boyd emphasized to JRN that the practice was born out of a collaborative effort to manage a severe bed shortage at the Craighead County Detention Center. You heard in there back in 2024 emphasizing the need that they just need a new facility altogether. At least that's his words, not mine here. So, it became a major debate. It ultimately failed at the ballot box. And here we are now, where Sheriff Boyd is now warning of a possible public safety issue if they continue to go forward. Of course, Sheriff Boyd did not seek re-election in this most recent election. And essentially the undersheriff, the deputy sheriff, Jason Allen, is going to take over. He won the election. So lots to follow there. Lots we're going to keep our eyes on in the future of what things look like throughout Craighead County. Another quick break. When we come back, we have got more news. So we're going to update you. Yesterday, we were talking about this New York City building. Now it has been stabilized after those collapse fears. We're going to bring you that, plus some news about education in Arkansas. When we come back, you're watching Brookland News Live.
individual they
We're
used
getting
to
a new update on a
facilitate
New York City building that was evacuated.
Robinson
As
turning
officials
himself in
warned,
was someone
it
known
was
to Mr.
at fear
Robinson
of
personally that had been
collapsing. Crews
connected
have
to law
now
enforcement.
completed
Their
emergency
understanding
work to
that
stabilize
the
Midtown
individual they
Manhattan
used
building
to
after structural issues were discovered and quickly concerns about
turning himself in was
buckling
someone known to
support
Mr.
columns.
Robinson personally that had been connected to law enforcement. Their understanding.
I'm glad they're safe, but yeah, I live a block away, so I hope they were able to shore it up and everything's okay.
It's still a little nerve-wracking knowing that it's a work in progress, but I'm hopeful that, their judgment and the work that they're doing is, going to get this resolved.
I do continue to consider the conversion of office space into residential space as part of our answer to the housing crisis. I also consider that we have to do so safely and in a way that is fully accountable. We are going to be conducting a full investigation as to how we got to this point, because this is not a necessary consequence of an office to residential conversion. This, however, is clearly a breakdown in that process.
Now, city officials say the building is being
Understanding
closely
that
monitored as crews continue
the
inspections and
individual
work
they
to determine the
used to
full extent of the damage.
facilitate
Now, the cause of the structural problem
Turning
remains
himself
under
in was someone
investigations, but
known to
officials
Mr.
say the
Robinson
immediate
personally that
risk
had been connected to
has
law
been
enforcement. Their
reduced. So we're going to
understanding
keep our
that
eye on this
the
story
individual they used
to
to
watch.
facilitate
Again, the
turning
housing
himself in
crisis
was
that the mayor
someone
says they are
known to
facing.
Mr.
He says they are
Robinson
going to
personally that had been
consider
connected to law
making
enforcement. Their
office
understanding
buildings
that
into residential
the individual they used to facilitate.
Alrighty, now to the story right now in Arkansas. Arkansas is receiving more flexibility from the U.S. Department of Education after Secretary of Education Linda McMowen approved a waiver allowing the state to change how it uses certain federal education funds. Now, the move is part of the Trump administration's broader effort to return more control over education policy to the states.
That our districts and our state have to provide to the federal government. Fewer tests that our students have to take and more flexibility for our teachers so they can focus on their real job, which is educating our kids.
Now, state education leaders say the waiver will give school districts more control over federal resources and provide more flexibility for local needs, including rural schools. Arkansas officials say the change could help districts make decisions without some of the federal requirements that have been in place. Alright, I want to turn you right now to this is an extreme developing story. There is a missing plane, and we're being for real about this. So a search right now underway after a cargo plane disappeared over the Arabian Sea while heading toward Pakistan. Now, this was also, we want to know, during overnight actions that the U.S. took to Iran. So we just want to note that here. Now, the aircraft lost control with air traffic control after reporting a possible issue. 5 people were said to be on board, including 2 pilots and 3 crew members. Search crews have since located wreckage in the water, but authorities are still working to find more information about what might have caused this crash. So we're following this very closely. We want to take a listen here to an official on NBC News. This was a correspondent on NBC News, excuse me.
A Boeing 737 cargo plane. It was flying from the United Arab Emirates to Karachi, Pakistan, when it suddenly went missing off the port or off the coast of Karachi in the Arabian Sea. The plane's route took it right over the Strait of Hormuz, but apparently went down off the coast of Pakistan, as we said. The cargo airline is K2. Pakistani Air Traffic Control says the plane reported navigational issues at 9:20 p.m. local time, then descended rapidly and began making sharp changes in the heading. Radar and radio contact, lost about 178 miles west of Karachi. Controllers have launched search and rescue teams. 5 crew members are thought to have been on board. It's not at all clear what might have happened here. Typically, if a plane loses an engine, it doesn't just drop out of the sky. It glides for a time. This plane seemed to drop like a rock. Flight Radar 24 shows an extremely steep rate of descent. Reuters is reporting this was a 737-400 cargo plane and that carrier's only aircraft. It was originally a passenger plane, but at this hour, no indication yet if it was brought down by...
Yeah, so authorities now saying the investigation is still in its early stages, and it is unclear how this plane might have went down. Already happening now, the United States Postal Service says they will be sending a letter. That is, I should say, the price of sending a letter is going up again. Excuse me. The U.S. Postal Service is raising the price of a forever stamp by 4 cents, bringing the cost of first-class mail to 82 cents. The change is part of a broader rate increase as the Postal Service continues dealing with financial pressures. The Postal Service says the higher prices are needed to support operations and offset rising costs. This is the latest in a series of price increases, with the cost of a first-class stamp continuing to climb over the last several years. Alrighty, we're going to sneak in another quick break. When we come back, we will take you into the Charlie Kirk hearing, accused assassin Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing that is ongoing right now. That is when we come back. Stick with us. You're watching Brookland News Live. Alrighty, welcome back. We are monitoring day 3 of the preliminary hearings for Tyler Robinson, the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. The 5-day hearing is taking place in Provo, Utah, where prosecutors are presenting evidence to show that there is enough probable cause for the case to move forward to trial. Now, on day 2, which was yesterday, prosecutors continued to present their case, calling witnesses and walking the court through evidence they say connects Robinson directly to the shooting. Now, testimony had focused on the investigation, including details surrounding the shooting, evidence including details surrounding the shooting, evidence collection, and the timeline of events leading up to Robinson's arrest. The defense continued questioning the state's evidence and how investigators built their case against Robinson. The hearing is expected to continue today, and you see there, right now, witness Brian Davis is testifying. He is an agent with the Utah State Bureau. Let's listen in here.
Handle the situation there.
Did you mentioned the reason you went down there was you had been told that an individual wanted to turn themselves in.
That's correct.
Did you observe that individual?
I did.
And where was that person at the time?
So when we arrived, we went into the room that we were in. It was one of their office, the cubicles there. On the wall, there was a television monitor where I viewed an individual on that screen that was sitting in one of the soft interview rooms. That room was equipped with audio-video recording device, and so I observed him on that screen at that time.
Were you aware, or did you become aware what time that individual arrived at Washington County Sheriff's Office?
I was told he arrived there about 9 p.m. that evening.
And was he with anybody else?
He had been, he'd come there with his parents and a family friend.
Did you speak with this individual that we've been talking about?
Yes, I did.
Did you get his name?
Yes, we obtained his name and date of birth.
What was his name?
Tyler Robinson.
Did he tell you that himself?
He did.
You mentioned other individuals came there with him. And then you also said that you had kind of coordinated with the team of law enforcement officers that were there. Were those other individuals spoken with by law enforcement?
They were.
Let's go through them. How did that happen? Who was spoken to first of the other individuals?
So Tyler's mother was interviewed by SBI agent Holgreen and FBI agent Cox. And then kind of simultaneously, his father was being interviewed by SBI agent Terry and FBI agent Smith. And also at that time, the family friend Mike Mitchell was interviewed by other agents as well.
And you said that these interviews were being conducted simultaneously?
Yes.
Were you part of the interview with either of Tyler's parents?
Yes. Yes, myself and Agent Folger. Did I misspeak earlier? Myself and Agent Folger interviewed the mother.
All right, let's make sure the record's clear on that. So Agent Folger, what agency is he with?
With FBI.
And yourself interviewed Tyler's mother?
Yes, that's correct.
I just want to make sure the record's clear. Who interviewed Tyler's father?
Yeah, I think I might have misspoke. It was Agent Holgreen, Agent Cox that met with his father.
And then who spoke with family friend Mike Mitchell?
Agent Terry, Agent Smith.
Down in St. George, Washington County Sheriff's Office, was Mr. Robinson detained at that time?
Yes, he was.
Was he formally arrested at that time?
Yeah, after all the interviews were completed, when we talked to everybody, he was formally arrested at that time.
And I'm going to come back to that in a second. Excuse me, where did the arrest take place?
At the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
And what date did that happen on?
Would have been September 12th. It was about 4 a.m., I believe, of September 12th.
All right, I want to show just on your screen, not for public yet, what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 15. Let me know when you're able to see that.
Okay, it's there.
Before I ask you about that, did you have an opportunity to, you stated that you observed Mr. Robinson at Washington County Sheriff's Office, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Your Honor, could I have a moment with Ms. Hunt? May I have a moment with Ms. Hunt?
You may.
You're just going to do the redacted version.
Thank you.
And that may happen a couple more times as we go through exhibits because of agreements and disagreements that we have.
Thank you for the heads up.
At Washington County Sheriff's Office, where you initially observed Mr. Robinson, you stated that he was in a room. Is that room equipped with video recording?
Yes, it is.
Is that standard practice for a facility like that to have video recording in such a room?
Yes, very, very common.
Have you reviewed that video?
I have.
And in your review of that video, does it fairly and accurately depict Mr. Robinson at that time?
It does.
You see on your screen what's been marked as State's Exhibit 15. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is that?
That's the interview room in which Mr. Robinson was seated and waiting.
State moves to admit Exhibit 15.
Ms. Hunt, and the other two steps, what's your request?
We would ask to admit it into evidence. We have, defense counsel and I have agreed upon, I guess, redaction of the video, and I would ask to publish it both to the courtroom and to the media.
Mr. Novak?
It's silent, correct? Ms. Hunt?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor, Ms. Hunt is correct. The state had originally proposed a longer image with audio, and we've agreed to a shorter image without audio. And so
That's correct. Yeah.
So we're fine with all three steps as to this exhibit.
All right. Does the state wish to review this to make sure that what's queued up comports with what you believe? If not, we can move forward. I just want to allow all parties the opportunity to double check.
Let me just confer with my paralegal.
Oh, that's probably right.
It's has no audio, so we would like to admit and publish it at this time.
All right, State's Exhibit 15 is admitted pursuant to discussion and may be published in the courtroom and may be recorded or transmitted electronically. Just
And Your Honor, of course, this is subject to all of the objections which have been previously reserved in writing and reiterated over the last couple of days. I assume that we don't need to start over with that today.
thank you. I appreciate that. I note the standing objection by defense as previously made, and that objection is overruled, and this exhibit is admitted.
And in this case, it wouldn't be the 1102 issues, it would be the electronic media coverage of the proceeding.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Novak. I appreciate that. All right, with that, to the media, can you view that screen okay? All right. All right, State's Exhibit 15 may be played.
And Agent Davis, who are we seeing here?
That's Tyler Robinson.
And although we are watching it on video, what is he wearing at this time?
He's working a dark colored baseball cap with has like I believe it's like maybe the Hurley symbol on it, like a white symbol on front. It's a burgundy short sleeve shirt with no graphics. It's blue jeans and gray and white tennis shoes. I believe they're Converse style tennis shoes.
Thank you. Was Mr. Robinson, you stated that he was arrested in the early hours of September 12th, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Did he remain in Washington County Sheriff's Office, or was he taken somewhere else?
No, he was transported from there to the Utah County Jail.
Prior to being transported to the Utah County Jail, was any, I guess, personal property taken from him, clothing, anything like that?
The only thing that was, so prior to like our arriving to the St. George, to the Washington County Sheriff's Office, his cell phone was seized and taken from his person. But that was the only thing that was taken from at that
After he was transported to Utah County Jail, were any personal items taken from him?
Yes, they were.
And what were those?
After a search warrant was granted, his clothing was recovered, along with buccal swabs to collect his DNA and major case prints, which is fingerprints, palm prints, pretty much the entire hand. Those are all collected from him.
And sorry, you may have already stated when did he arrive in Utah County?
We arrived at the Utah County Jail about 7 a.m. on the 12th, September 12th, and he was formally booked in at about 8 a.m. of that morning, and then I was the booking officer.
What does it mean to be the booking officer?
I filled out the necessary paperwork essentially with the jail, which gives the individuals personal identification of the charges, the probable cause statement, and then it's signed and submitted to the system.
All right, I want to talk a bit about search warrants, some of the search warrants that were executed in this case. As part of the investigation, were search warrants obtained specifically for areas in southern Utah?
Yes, they were.
And obviously do not give me exact addresses, but generally for what locations?
It was the residence of Tyler Robinson and the residence of his parents.
Were those warrants executed?
They were.
By whom?
The residence of Tyler Robinson was a team led by Sergeant Famuina with SBI, along with the Utah State Crime Lab. And the residence of his parents was a team led by the FBI, their evidence response team.
Are you aware of what date or dates, if applicable, those warrants were executed?
Yeah, September 12th. I believe Tyler's residence, they started the search warrant about 8 o'clock in the morning, and then his parents' residence, they started about 4 p.m. Of September 12th.
So to be clear, you've stated who was involved in executing those warrants. Were you physically present for the execution of either of those warrants?
No, I was not.
Are you aware of whether Mr. Robinson lived with anyone else at that residence at the time?
Yes.
Do you know who that was?
Lance Twiggs.
And we won't get too into it right now. We'll cover this with Sergeant Falmina, but did you receive information from officers involved in those execution of those warrants about what, if anything, had been found?
Yes, I did.
All right, turning to another area. As part of this investigation, you have previously mentioned that a family friend came in initially with the Robinsons. Who was that family friend?
His name was Mike Mitchell.
And who is he in relation to the Robinsons?
So he's a family friend, a good family friend.
And what was his involvement here?
So he helped facilitate working with Tyler and his parents with the sheriff's department for Tyler to turn himself in.
And I believe you mentioned previously that law enforcement conducted an interview with Mr. Mitchell.
They did.
Remind us when that interview occurred.
So that was the early morning hours of September 12th at the Washington County Sheriff's Department.
And I know you've already stated, but remind me who was present for that interview.
That one was Agent Terry and Agent Smith.
What agencies are they with?
Terry's with SBI and Smith is with FBI.
Are you aware if a second interaction or statement was collected from Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, it was.
When did that happen?
It was March 31st of this year.
Who was present at that time?
It was Ryan McBride, Chad Grunander, Kimberly Derfler, and Agent Chris Terry with SBI.
You mentioned Ryan McBride, Chad Grunander, and Kimberly Derfler. What office do they work for?
The Utah County Attorney's Office.
And you mentioned Agent Chris Terry.
Yes.
So you were not present for this collection of this statement?
No, I was not.
Have you communicated with Agent Chris Terry about how this happened?
Yes, I have.
How did this happen?
So all those individuals met with Mike Mitchell at it was the St. George courthouse there. They met and discussed briefly, just kind of talk generally about the situation. From there, Mr. Mitchell was given a handwritten 1102 paper statement, and he left the room, went into a separate office by himself, was there for about an hour where he hand wrote a statement, filled the statement out. When that was complete, he came back into the room where the others were waiting and provided that 1102 statement to them.
We've heard quite a bit about 1102 statements. It sounds like there's an official form that is used. What's present on that form, if you know?
There's an admonition or warning given on those forms that states that the information you're giving is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge, that any false statement that is given or may be given would be punishable by a Class A misdemeanor.
Aside from that being written on the form, are you aware if this admonition was discussed with Mr. Mitchell?
It was.
Do you know by whom?
Yeah, Ryan McBride provided that admonition to him.
And you stated that Mr. Mitchell then went into a separate room for about an hour and wrote his statement down?
Correct.
Did anyone, including prosecutors or law enforcement, direct him what to say?
Foundation objection. Personal knowledge.
Would you like to respond, Ms. Hunt?
I can lay a little more foundation.
All right, so I'll sustain the objection for now, and Ms. Hunt is moving forward with laying more foundation.
You discussed with Agent Chris Terry about how this statement was obtained?
Yes.
Did he mention anything to you about anyone directing Mr. Mitchell about what to say or what to include in the form?
No, I spoke to him personally and reviewed his report also.
I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 14.1. Let me know when you see that on your screen.
Okay, I see it.
What is that?
This is the written 1102 statement that was provided by Mr. Mike Mitchell.
Your Honor, may I have a minute with Ms. Hunt for the same purpose?
And how do you know that?
I reviewed it. I reviewed it in its original. As soon as it came to us, I've seen it prior. So.
And Kimberly, if I can have you slowly scroll down. Sorry, Judge, if I can just have a moment.
You may.
I apologize, Your Honor. I misspoke. It's not 14.1, it's just Exhibit 14.
Okay.
So if we can place that again on the screen for the witness only. Yes. And sorry, we had been scrolling through that. Do you recognize that?
I do.
Does it depict, is it fair and accurate from what you remember?
Yeah, with the exception of the redactions, yes, it's fair and accurate.
And Judge, I'll make a record. Defense counsel and I have stipulated on the redactions that are present. I would move for its admission, states Exhibit 14, into evidence, but we do not wish to publish it either to the courtroom gallery or the cameras.
All right, could I have a copy of it? What I have is the unredacted version. So I want to review it before I make that decision.
If I may approach.
You may. Thank you. All right, I've had a chance to review State's Exhibit 14 and noting the standing objections by defense. concerning 1102s. The court accepts into evidence State's Exhibit 14 and pursuant to the parties is not published.
Thank you, Judge. All right, I want to move on to another topic. You've stated that you've been present for the duration as the case agent of the preliminary hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
We heard testimony yesterday about turning to the scene at UVU on September 10th, that a bullet was found on a roof. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Do you have knowledge about that bullet, what that is about?
Yes, I do.
What roof was that bullet found on?
I believe it was found on the computer science building, on the roof, on the far east side of the roof of the building itself.
Alrighty, we're going to continue monitoring this hearing as it continues to be underway there. Brian Davis continuing his testimony. He's a Utah State Bureau agent. We'll monitor it. We do want to get to you our live shot right now in Brooklyn as we are continuing to wait maybe for the possibility of some showers. I know we saw them yesterday, but could we see them again today? Want to get you to your forecasts right now. Mostly sunny today. Scattered thunderstorms could occur. We're watching for them. Low of 74 as we go into the evening. By Thursday, high of 94. Scattered thunderstorms continue all the way into Friday. High of 94, low of 76 on Thursday. By Friday, high of 92 and a low of 74. We're watching it all. We're going to bring you updates on your forecast as this week progresses. Though right now, it's a beautiful day to step outside. Maybe swim in a pool. Make sure you're wearing sunscreen, though. It's hot, though. It's really hot, though. Not as hot as, it was like last week when it was like 100 plus degrees, but it is something. It is warm, so if you're gonna be outside, make sure you either have AC, something to cool off in, just like a pool. And yeah, so that is going to conclude our coverage on this Wednesday. Time now 2:59. Have a great day, you guys, and stay safe. We're back here tomorrow, 2 p.m. with all the news you need to know and more. Remember, you can follow our social media pages there at the bottom of your screen for those big headlines, and then go to brooklandnews.com for all the news you need and more. Thank you for watching. We're back tomorrow at 2 p.m.